everybody. I'm DJ Dank. This is Maria Konner. Welcome to Under the Golden Gate Live. Yes. Kunst-Stoff Arts. Yes. So it's our second time here.
Second time here.
Getting plugged in.
We're plugging in. We're like plugging into the electronics.
Yeah.
This is the city of being plugged in. This is where it's all invented.
It's true. San Francisco, the city of now.
This is exciting. We're right on the intersection of where art and technology meet.
We pretty much are.
Right here.
Yeah.
All these kind of freaks here in the crowd, you know.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, you know, it's all about all these amazing people we're about to bring on who, you know, are adding into that and going against the current. So.
Yeah. You know what I love? I love the fact that my underwear is not showing through here.
I know you love that.
Girls get to show their underwear. Isn't that exciting?
I guess so. I mean, guys can show their underwear too, and I have no problem with that. Does
yeah,
anybody really?
Depends on what you're into, you know?
I guess so.
Yeah, so we got a lot of great guests here, right?
We have an amazing guest, so maybe we should get started with our first one?
Yeah, I think we should, you know? And
well, she is a lovely performer, and one of the things that I find the most fascinating, well, not, there are so many, but it's the fact that she was actually a clown at Ringling Brothers and Barnum Bailey Circus, and she always kind of poo-poos that. And I'm like going, no, well, she was a clown. That's really cool.
She was an actual clown.
Yeah, not the scary kind that you saw in It or all those scary movies or anything.
Yeah, right.
Well, let's bring her to the stage.
Let's bring her on, right?
Sara Moore.
All right, Sara Moore. Right on. All right, plug in, girl. We got to plug in. We're trying out these new chairs, excuse me.
Help me, Dan.
Okay.
Yeah. Thanks.
God. Okay. There we are. We're good. Sit down.
I'm sitting.
Or prop yourself.
Wait,
We just met her at the Cinch.
Oh,
and that's where the great thing about being in this is probably the smallest big city in the world, really.
Yes, it is.
It's like a big
Absolutely.
small.
Yeah,
it's a giant, small. This is like a private club. I feel like I'm in a clubhouse.
Yeah.
Kind of in a way you are.
Under the Golden Gate.
And you've come and you're playing with the old Under the Golden Gate bunch today.
Yeah, this is the Golden Gate.
Well, you know, a lot of those clubs and stuff, I mean, we're not in it to make tons of money. It's more about like joining the club and coming and playing.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, I have my playtime on this night and you have your playtime on that night. So we're glad you're coming to play with us.
This is fun, yeah.
Yeah. And you were a real performer. You were on Broadway.
No, not on off-Broadway.
Oh, she was off Broadway. Off Broadway, on Broadway, it's the same thing.
And then off Broadway.
Yeah.
And then that's sort of like on the street that's Broadway. And then there's the Broadway here in San Francisco. I'm on that Broadway too.
You are?
Yeah, any kind of Broadway in Burlingame. I'm in there too. Cappuccino Way, and you know, yeah, sure. Yeah.
But you're a Jersey girl like Maria.
Oh my God.
We're both from New Jersey.
From Jersey.
Oh,
You're not from Jersey,
Ferocious
really?
Titties is from New Jersey?
Forget about it.
I didn't know that.
Forget about it. You know
You're
what
like
I'm saying?
Jersey cows, Jersey cow. We drive by them, they're like, hey, what's going on? Forget it. Talk to Dimples, he knows. Yeah.
So
Anyway.
you really were a theater person, so you got all these different personalities.
Yes. I came from musical theater as a child, unfortunately. No, it was good. It was a very interesting childhood. I played all the boys' roles. I played young Patrick and Mame and Oliver and all that crap.
Yeah.
And then grew up and said, you know what, I'd rather, I think, be funny.
Right.
And instead of going to college, I ran off with the circus.
Yes, and it was literally Ringling Brothers and Barnum Bailey Circus.
Yes, Ringling Brothers. I was with Six Flags first.
Yeah,
you know, Great Adventure, which is right
so
there
how do
in
you train
Jackson.
to be a clown? Will you go to
Well,
clown
you have to
school?
throw yourself down flights of stairs and smash into walls.
Slip on banana peels?
Exactly, and slide across tabletops.
Were you the class clown?
No, I was actually mopey and very sullen, which makes for good clowning, because really the basis of clowning is being sad and depressed, as we all know.
Well, you know, that is that weird performance thing.
Yeah, it is kind of an opposite type of thing.
Right,
you know,
but when they're on, you're on.
When you're on, you're on.
Well, yeah,
I'll tell you,
totally.
you get whiplash in this place, you know, because
Yeah, of course.
Well, you know, we're going to give you a workout.
Yeah, it is a workout.
So tell me about your experiences on in Atlantic City, because you told me about stories about
Really,
that.
do I have to talk about it?
Yes, you do. Tell me, who discovered you? Who was
Okay, this is good, actually. This is good. Merv Griffin.
Merv Griffin discovered you, yeah. So how did that happen?
It's a good story, Maria. You're going to love this. Didn't I tell you guys?
Tell us about Merv.
We were at the bar one night, you know. No, we were, and I think I probably did tell you this, but we forgot whether I told you the story. No, I was working in Atlantic City as a comic, and Merv Griffin bought the casino that I was working in. It was Resorts International. It was owned by Trump, and he bought it, and I was like, oh my God, Merv's in the building. So I knew the butler that came in to take care of him, and I gave the guy $50 to put a packet under the door, so it was classic. And Merv got it and said, who is this kid? Get her in here. So I got into the shows, and I ended up playing people like Harpo Marx. I was a natural for that.
Yes.
You know, it's the sort of the crazy Jewish face, and you know, I put the curls on.
You already have the hair,
and then,
you get the hat and horn.
There you go. Yeah, so I did that, and then I kept going, and I played other characters that I sort of created, like Ruby the Rubber Woman, where I had 25-foot long arms, and was doing, you know, getting spun around like crazy. So all of that, I got to perform for years in Atlantic City working for him until he got rid of the place, and then I moved on and actually came out here.
Wow, so how long have you been in San Francisco?
Since '99.
99, okay.
And prior to that, I was in Minneapolis because I stopped in the middle of the country to make a film. So I made a film in Minneapolis. And
That's right. And what was the name of your film?
Homo Heights.
Homo Heights.
Homo Heights. Yeah.
It's still out there.
Is it still?
It's the most reviled and loved gay cult film ever made. So I'm really proud of that.
That's good though, because if you can piss people off, that's almost as good as making them happy.
God,
at least
did
they
I?
talk about it.
Oh, I pissed everybody off. But it was fun. I mean, Quentin Crisp was in it. It was his only starring role and last role.
Right.
Leah Delaria is in it, who's now back where she belongs in prison. I mean, she's on Orange is the New Black.
Bless her sweet soul is what we always say in Texas
Yeah,
after saying something like that. Oh,
yeah, bless
them.
her heart.
Bless her heart.
So yeah, and it was a great experience.
Yeah.
And then I said, you know,
what was Quentin Crisp like?
exactly what you would think. I mean, he was a proper English gentleman, and he didn't know any of his lines, and and he was adorable. He would stand on set, and I would tell him what to say. And it's a beautiful performance, though. It's really sweet. He's very beautiful in it.
Has your movie jumped onto the DVD?
It did. It actually, when it was released, it was a Blockbuster Video with the title Happy Heights.
You think somebody misread
It
it?
was great because it was in between Hannibal and the Green Mile, and I was like, "Look, there it is!" You know.
What price fame?
Yeah, and so that was it, and then it drifted away, and now there's like 80,000 copies of it out there somewhere.
Okay, I'm
And then you ended up here in San Francisco.
I know.
I mean, did you seek this place out, or did you end up here?
Well, isn't it weird? It's one of those places. San Francisco is so personified that you feel like it's like this love. You have to go to it. You know, it's like the Northern
Into the
Desert.
Lot Caroline.
So yeah, and I felt like I was pulled to it because it was finally time to come to the land where being inventive and innovative and all
Right.
of that was, you know, the city is downright maternal to that kind of thinking.
Is it that?
You know, I
And
mean,
like
it's
the
changing a
weirdos,
lot.
too.
It
It is changing a lot.
Yeah, now you're living above a sports bar, is that right? What's that
Sorta.
like? An artist
in
living
the
above
marina.
a sports bar in the marina.
She lives a block away from me, and I can only
Yeah.
imagine.
I know. I'm holding on to the rent control situation.
Aren't we all?
Yeah.
But it's pretty funny because you know you hear "Rah!" You hear these tremendous roars coming from.
Oh yes, I know.
all
I've
over the
heard them
place.
myself.
Yeah, and
And
it's
you're like, oh, sports
somebody's
thing
winning.
happened. Yeah, somebody's winning. Somebody's
You know,
scored.
and I know nothing about sports. I like the Giants, of course. I like the Giants,
course.
but that's all I know.
Right.
I don't know anything else. I just know they're real big. They're giants, and they hit balls, run.
Yeah.
They're guys, right? They're men. So.
For the most part.
Well, they're not going to drive you back to New York. You're stuck here forever.
Oh,
right?
forever.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Oh, and so I'll tell you about Wonder World. I have a hit show that ran last summer called
Yes,
Wonder
Wonder
World,
World, I saw it.
which is a new reimagining of the Alice in Wonderland adventure where Alice is 80 years old and going back down the rabbit hole.
Yes.
So I play Alice, who's really my mother.
Yes.
And then it's a 5-person cast. It's reopening again at Center Rep out in Walnut Creek.
Oh, that's great to hear.
And then it's probably going to jump to New York.
Well,
So
and the thing
I'm
about
excited
it
about that.
is it's all mine. There's no
Not
dialogue.
a word.
Not a word.
The artistic director out there said something great, so I'll repeat it. He said it was somewhere between Neil Simon and Samuel Beckett, but it's a genre all of its own.
There you
So
go.
I like that.
You're a
I know.
genre
You should
of
have that in the
your own.
little.
genre all of your
You should
own.
put that in the little quote space when
Yeah.
you put the poster up.
Yeah, that's that. I should.
You should, definitely.
Yeah. So that's going on. Then we're all opening a brand new show called Flop, which is an acronym for Flying Leibowitzes of Pismo.
Okay.
So it's a show about failed aerial acrobats. And that's going to go up on March 2nd at the Creativity Theater in the Children's Creativity Museum. But it's not a show necessarily for children. It's for everyone. So everyone come be a child as you see it. But so yeah, I'm excited. And we have a fundraiser coming up for Thrill Ride Mechanics, which is my company, which is San Francisco's hyper-comical theater of human animation.
Oh.
So we're going to do a fundraiser in September, I believe, at Z Space.
So how can people follow that? Do you have a website?
Oh God, the website. Oh, sorry.
The website.
The lower third.
The website.
Look down here. Yeah.
It will be printed here at some point.
Yeah, I have to get the website up. Thanks,
Oh,
Dan.
okay. Well, nudge,
No, I
nudge.
really do.
Yeah,
I do
we'll
have to get the
have it
website
up
up.
by then.
Yeah, we'll have it up by then. And then we're just going to hopefully raise, we will raise the money for the next 2 shows. And then, of course, we're dedicated to an educational component,
Okay.
bringing a teen apprentice program into what we're doing. And
So were you okay? So you always wanted to be on the stage, is that correct? I mean, even from a kid, when you first were like a little kid growing up and playing in the schoolyard, were you like putting on shows and stuff like that?
Yeah,
I
and
was
think,
too.
And I think because we're in the same age group. And I'll tell you what, Dan, back in those days, your mother didn't put you on Ritalin; they shoved you into the theater, which is really a good.
Or just
thing
kicked
to
you out the
do.
door and locked it. That's
Yeah, quiet in there.
Go play.
So yeah.
What did you play with your brothers? You have brothers and sisters?
Oh
Did
yeah,
you play
brother
with
and
them?
2 sisters. Oh yeah.
Are they like you, or are you the oddball?
Well, yeah.
we're all oddballs.
Yeah, we're all the people. When you move to San Francisco from where you come from, you are definitely the.
You're the
oddball.
crazy aunt?
Yeah, I'm the crazy aunt.
I'm the crazy Aunt or uncle, I'm not sure.
Well, you can be
It
both.
varies on both.
Yeah, I'm the crazy aunt clown, which is even weirder. So I guess, you know. But yeah.
And what was it like working at Ringley Brothers and Barnum Bailey Circus? I
Fabulous.
mean, when you're walking around, are like lions going by and like
Yes, yes.
and you get used to
Tigers.
Is it very surreal?
It is very surreal, and you know, it's a marvelous thing to do because it's so old-fashioned. I mean, there's
Right.
nothing like it in the world.
And circuses aren't even as I don't think as popular now as they ever were.
Oh,
As a
yeah.
kid, I guess, yeah, definitely.
I think they are because Cirque du Soleil has revived all of that, so they've given
That's
it
true.
a lot of jimmies and sparkles and polish on the circus. But Ringling is still thriving.
Yes.
It's still out there.
And how long did you do that?
3.5 years, almost
3.5
4
years,
years.
wow.
You live on a train, and it's very interesting, and
Wow.
it's a life, and it's a life that you never get over because once you do it, you always feel like, wait a minute, we're not moving. You know, like
Where's my berth?
You exactly.
Would you recommend it to others?
Oh,
Would you
yeah.
do it again?
Oh, absolutely. I
So-
just actually directed Circus Bella, which is the little one-ring traveling circus here in San Francisco. It's the only one-ring circus left. We had the Pickle Family Circus and Make a Circus, and it's a big hub for clowns. So
Wow. Who knew?
anyway,
Well, great. So I mean,
Thank you.
So if you were to give your advice to yourself,
In
what
the
would it be?
past.
In the
You
past.
look back at young
What would it be?
Sarah.
You did
you're
everything
like,
fine?
Sarah, watch out.
I think it
So
was
final thoughts, advice to yourself.
final advice to myself.
Yes.
Yeah, watch out for what's her name.
Watch out for what's her name.
That's
I think
really
that'll
it.
apply to any of us, right?
And watch out
well.
for what's his name too. Just be careful of those
Yeah.
people. Yeah, no. I don't think I would change really much of anything except I think I probably would have finished my college degree. I think I would have done that before I went on the road with the circus.
It's kind of overrated.
Little Sarah,
know.
study.
Yeah, exactly.
Study, eat your
Study,
vegetables,
yeah.
and then you can be a clown.
Yeah,
All
exactly.
right. Well, great.
Well,
And
great.
how can anybody reach you? Is it Facebook?
Lower
You
third.
Facebook? If somebody sees this video and they go, "Oh my gosh, we have to have her."
They can wave to me on the street.
Oh, okay, or that.
Facebook.
Just track her down.
I'm on Crackbook. I mean Facebook.
Book, right.
I'm on there, and yeah, you can find me on there. And I'm going to have the website. The website will be going up soon for Thrill Ride Mechanics, and then everybody
It's
can find
Thrill
me.
Ride Mechanics. Okay, well, it's so
That'd
awesome
be
to
great.
have you here.
It was great to be here.
And I'm sure they won't be bored at your show, right?
They're not going to be bored of this show.
You'll never be.
Get front row seats.
That's right.
Second row
Watching
seats,
Sarah
actually.
on
Get back row
stage
seats.
is
Yeah.
amazing. I will say that.
Thank you, Dan.
emote so much from the stage.
Oh, it's fun.
So
I
you're
love
super
it.
talented, and we love
Okay.
having you. And I love you as having my
God.
friend.
I love having you as my friend. Yeah. You
All right.
It's fabulous.
Okay,
boys.
well, the lovely Sara Moore.
All right. All right. All right. And our guest here knows all about action here.
Yes, again, if you've forgotten, I'm DJ Dank. This is Maria Konner.
Yeah.
Maria, you have a friend here?
Yes, so we're here with Sebastian Keys from Kink.com. That's right. Yes, Sebastian is a producer and an actor and a porn performer over at the Castle over on Mission.
The Mission, yes.
Kink.com, the Armory.
Yeah.
It must be fun to work there. Was that a fun place or what?
Oh, it's a phenomenal place to work. Never is it a dull moment, that's for sure.
Yeah. And what's your favorite thing about working there?
Is it bad to say hearing the random screams in the hallway? But like, I know everyone's consenting to it, so
Right.
it's just like really.
When you
odd.
hear it, you kind of giggle a little bit.
Yeah, I giggle a little bit. I'm just like, wait, who does that scream belong to? I wonder. I've probably met them.
That could
Maybe
be-
I've been inside them.
That could be a party game. When you have one of the reunions of you guys getting together and like, oh, let's play this. Who was this? Who's screaming?
We'll just have everybody screams on a soundbite.
Oh, there you go. That'd be great.
And you're a performer and a director.
Yes, I do it all.
Yeah, we just filmed behind the scenes at Naked Combat, which
Yes.
is, tell us a little bit about what Naked Combat is.
So Naked Combat is one of my, I direct 3 different sites, and Naked Combat is one of my sites. It is male on male erotic wrestling.
Right. We did witness that.
And of course we do 3 wrestling rounds. I keep score totally unscripted.
Yes.
Winner
Yeah.
fucks the loser.
Yeah. Simple rules.
The winner is the top, is that right?
Yes.
Yes, where in my world, the winner is the bottom.
It just shows Maria's world's a little bloop.
A little inverse.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Although a lot
still
of the
low.
losers that end up bottoming after they've had to wrestle for 3 rounds, they're like,
Okay.
oh, I just have to sit back and take it? I just won.
Easy peasy.
What makes a good porn director? Do you have to be a good performer?
I would say so, because
Yeah.
you need to know, like, you have to actually be in the role so you know what to look for. And
Yeah.
you know what's sexy, so that way you can portray it on film.
Yeah, I like the way you were like when we were shooting, you went cut, hold his head down and count to 10, and
yeah.
show his mouth and your whatever.
Even if I'm filming the
I'm watching you, right?
You'll see me still like get on all fours and be like, no, you gotta stop
No,
like
you
this.
did,
gotta-
exactly.
I know it
We love
sells.
that.
Well, the great thing
I
about
bet she did.
Oh yeah. Well, the thing I really love about King is it's a very professional place. I mean, you got analytics, you're analyzing, you know what people want. I mean, it's a very professional place to work. You got health insurance. I mean, what's it like working there?
It's amazing, and we literally are the biggest fetish BDSM company in the world.
On the planet.
We're on the
Exactly.
planet.
Nothing else like it.
In the universe.
Yes, that's true. And it's phenomenal to be working around such a very talented crew of people.
Yeah.
Sorry we were gone for a moment. Now we're back.
Yes, we are.
It's great to be back.
It is.
Yeah. Talking to King.
So now I can't complete my question. Now I was going to ask him, but I didn't want to ask him during the break.
Well, we were talking about Kink.com and what it's like to work here. The fact that they
Yes.
actually have great health insurance and a great bunch of people to work for. And it really is like having a job, like a regular job.
Well, as a matter of fact, when we would talk to some of the performers, they'd be standing there with their dicks hard, talking to you, and it was kind of like they're on break, and they were like taking their drink, going, "Oh no, I'm hanging out with my friends," and it's just all kind of like them talking was just so normal. There was nothing like erotic about it, and you like keep on looking down at his dick, and you're like, okay, well, and it gets,
got, like,
you know,
the-
I know, but then after a while, you kind of get used to it, I guess.
Yeah, we're jaded after a while. We do it
Okay,
day in, day out. Yeah, I get jaded.
And one of them was straight.
Yes,
Right?
actually. Yeah, the
Yeah.
wrestling match that you went to, he was straight.
He was straight, and I think you get paid more money if you're straight. If you're straight, no, if you do gay porn, rather.
Oh, well,
You do gay porn, yeah.
Yeah, gay porn versus straight porn. Gay porn for
They'd have to pay
guys.
me more to do straight
That
porn.
pays more. There, surprisingly, there are straight for pay gay models.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting.
Why would you want to do that?
Just an extra source of income.
Okay,
Might
yeah.
as well.
Well, I mean,
It's never not as much, but
well, you've
It
told
all
me this
adds up.
before, and one of the things I find interesting is that when you first came to Kink.com, you were straight.
I was actually a straight vanilla Mormon boy.
Right there.
Yeah, maybe.
Look at me now.
So
You believe you're a believer?
So
I used to.
how did that change you? How do you identify now?
I'm very queer. That's how I identify myself.
Let's give him a hand for being queer, right?
Thank you.
I like to think of it, I like to think of it as adventurous.
Ooh, very adventurous. I mean, you've seen some of the work I've done. It's very adventurous.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. Wow. Wow. So you started. So you ended up getting a job there just as an actor. How did you get?
Just
into
as
it?
a model, and it was about 5.5 years ago. It was funny. It was my girlfriend at the time.
Yeah.
Who was like, don't be mad.
Right.
I think it'd be hot if you had sex with a guy.
And you had no interest in no interest in working in porn. You obviously had interest in porn because you're male.
Well, I've always
Right.
liked porn. I've
Yeah,
always
sure.
watched porn, yeah. But it was actually ironically that like a couple weeks beforehand, because I used to do just regular modeling. I did regular art modeling, nude modeling for art classes and stuff like that. And in the midst of that, I got contacted by a porn producer, or a talent agent, I guess I should say.
Yeah.
And he offered me a job doing gay porn. And I was like, thanks, but not my cup of tea. Thank you, though. I don't know if my girlfriend would appreciate that, but thanks for the offer. Literally, like a week or two after is when my girlfriend had that conversation.
The epiphany.
So I was like, well, let's give you what you want
Right.
and pays the bills.
Right.
So it all works out.
So the first time you went and did that, was it just kind of like, well, that was interesting?
The first time I ever was on film, my agent, bless his heart, he thought he was doing me a favor and helping me out. He was like, oh, okay, you're into chicks. I'll give you a very feminine boy. Oh, God, no. He was the twinkiest, flamiest little boy, and he looked exactly like Macaulay Culkin. I was like, no, give me big, burly, muscly,
burly,
hairy guys. I don't care. That's much better. And as time went on, it was more... There was less and less, I'm doing this for my girlfriend because she thinks it's hot, and more I'm like, okay, I'm actually a pervert, and I'm really enjoying this. So when I cut the ties with her, then I just kind of went full blast into the
blast
industry.
into it.
Yeah, nice.
And what are the other websites that you direct for?
So I direct Naked Combat, our
Right.
male-on-male wrestling. I also direct Bound in Public, which is our...
they go out to different locations.
Oh yes, we go to public locations.
Yes.
This last weekend we had Dory Alley Fair,
Oh,
up
well,
your
I
alley.
mean, up everybody's alley, I'm sure.
Oh yes, and I was very up my sub's alley that weekend.
Oh,
So
okay.
we,
There you go.
we took him on the street. We were beating him. We were clover clamping him all over the place. I tied him up to a street post.
And then you just had
left him
cameras
there.
rolling the whole time?
The whole time, yeah. I loved it, and the crowd was just eating it up.
Oh,
I
yeah.
love it. Yeah.
Well, I remember when you guys did a couple of things at the Cinch one time, and there are all these poo-poo people like, oh no, I wouldn't do that. That's awful. And and then like for the next month afterwards, all you heard them was like going up, going, really? I heard that so-and-so happened. Did that really happen?
Yeah.
And, they were all into it afterwards. And the few that did sneak in were all like, oh no.
Oh, yeah.
So, but I'm sure it causes quite a stir.
It does.
And are the
It's 'cause
people
we-
encouraged to partake?
Yes, I highly encourage. I'm always just like, if your mom calls and asks what you're doing, tell her you're at the hottest gangbang you've ever been at. Take pictures, I don't care.
Exactly.
Because it is
Mom needs to know.
Mom needs to know.
Does mom know?
They do.
Your mom knows.
My mom found out the day before I flew out for my first shoot.
How'd you find out?
How'd she find that out?
So the story was I was living in Cincinnati at the time. My parents were up in Boston area. I had driven clear across the country as a little road trip to go visit for my sister's high school graduation. In the midst of that, the girlfriend that wanted me to get into porn was traveling with me, and my parents had never met her.
Right.
While I got my first gig for porn, it was, of course, during that week that I went to go visit my family. And I didn't want to say no because I would have never gotten a chance to do porn again.
Right.
So I had to come up with some reason to be like, hey, I just drove 1,800 miles to see you guys. I'm leaving tomorrow, leaving my girlfriend that you've never met before with you, and I'll be back in 3 days with a bunch of money. Don't
Have
ask
fun.
why. Don't ask why.
Don't look in the bag. No.
Oh, God. And so my dad's an air traffic controller, so he's always like, he knows where I fly.
Yeah.
He can just check the flight number.
Oh,
So I
goes on
told
the
him at
computer.
least where I was flying. I was going down to Florida, and I was like, okay, I'm just modeling for this. It was just a regular modeling agency. My mom actually called that modeling
Did she
agency.
really?
So then they pulled me the night before and was like, they've never heard of you. Why are you really going down to Florida?
Wow.
And,
Yeah, it's either
I-
drugs or something to do with sex, or both.
And my dad was like, I know you so well, so just tell me the truth. And I went out and flat out told them, and my dad, bless his soul, was just like, why did I know you were going to say that?
Was he proud?
And, he was, because he's actually wanted to get into porn before, but he
Yeah, she goes in the
didn't
family.
happen.
So you're
he kinda
succeeding with
lives-
your father. You're going in your
he
father's
kinda-
dreams.
Yeah, he kind of lives vicariously.
I
through
bet.
me,
I
so.
bet. Yeah.
Well, do you think the average person do you think you had the inclination to be in porn or alternative or gay porn? Do you think that every healthy male, if he had the opportunity, a lot of them would really
You have
go
to be
for it?
comfortable with yourself.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm really surprised how comfortable I am with myself growing up Mormon. Yeah, as you can expect.
You were,
I mean, it's like,
when
it's,
you-
like,
you
it's,
were
like
when you
it's
grew
in
up,
the
or-
inevitable backlash.
I was Mormon up until about like 16, 17.
Okay.
Although, just because you're Mormon doesn't mean you're not a pig and a pervert.
It's true.
I was still watching my first porn when I was like 3 years
Right,
old.
right.
So. So porn was just like it was meant to be for me.
Exactly. Going down that path.
So with everything going on the internet now, with porn companies going out of business because they can't make
And-
money, how do you stay in business?
Yeah, because I mean, people are showing their junk and their own little mini videos and X-tubing and everything else.
Well,
Yeah.
and that's like, it's such a blessing where I work is because, like I said, we're the biggest
And the only.
fetish and the only BDSM company in the world that does
Yeah.
that. And the thing about BDSM porn versus any other type of porn, it always sells. There's never a...
People pay money.
Oh, yeah. Like my boss, he has videos from like 15, 20 years ago that he still is making money off of.
Is your boss the owner?
He's not the owner, but
Okay.
he's like my mentor. He taught
Okay,
me
yeah.
everything I know.
Yeah.
He was the one that founded Kink Men, the
Okay, got it.
gay
The gay
portion
side, because
of
when it
Kink.
first started, it was straight.
It was just kink.com,
Right.
yeah, and then they went over to do Kink Men, and now we even have transsexual sites as well.
And all kinds of
Yeah,
stuff.
we do a little bit of everything.
Are
You
they
need, to
paying?
you need to like tie up Maria sometime. And,
Oh,
Kinds of
I'll tell you about
make
that.
some money
There you
off
go.
of it, yeah? Are they spending money on it because they want to ensure they have access to it, or do they want to ensure it doesn't go away?
Both.
Are they thinking at that level?
You have like the full access of it, and what's nice about our sites is that you have the option to download, and you have it forever. Once you buy it,
Okay,
it's
yeah.
yours.
Yeah.
And so and like I said, that just will never die. People always are interested in looking at BDSM, whether it's 20 years old or we just made it last week.
Yeah.
People love BDSM, and I don't think that's ever changing.
and it seems to be a faithful audience.
Yes, very faithful.
They're not going to
very
rip it off
devout.
or download it.
Yeah, they do have like the principles. Is like obviously they know if we go to a tube site and download it for free, then
Right.
we're not going to see the authentication of this awesome
Right.
porn. So
Or
they-
maybe you can just threaten them that you're going to come over and beat them up.
that usually
Or whip
works
them.
too. That works
Well,
too.
that probably would want you to.
They usually want that. Though,
Yeah, I was
so.
going to say that'd be more like the bonus for joining.
Yeah, exactly.
Sign up for a year.
You get free
and
whips.
Have one person over. We go like, half an hour of free whipping.
Exactly.
That sounds like
Actually,
interesting.
I might take your
I
idea
know.
on
Let's
that
go with that.
Perfect. Yeah. And I also understand that the clientele is really across the board.
It is.
You
It's
know,
crazy. That's
yeah.
another interesting thing about like BDSM and fetishes.
Yeah.
That like I'll look at like the analytics of who my customers are and who my clients are who are actually buying my shoots, and I'm so surprised. Like most of them are straight people or like females will just buy my gay content. It's
So females like the gay content? I've always heard that as like a joke. You
Oh
know?
no.
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 No, no.
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 They love that.
Yeah, and I think
Love
it's on the uptick. You know, what about like overseas, like the Middle East or something
It's
interesting?
funny. I've actually most of my customers are in Brazil and China.
Really?
Yeah, they
Wow.
love
Go
my
on tour.
content. Yeah, they love my content. I know.
There's a whole new
actually
market
have,
out there, right?
I'll have members on Twitter that will be like, if you're ever coming to Beijing, please hit me up. I will come. I'll drive
Wow.
anywhere. I don't care where in the
Wow.
country we are. We'll come see you.
I
So,
bet. Well,
yeah.
because it's also the fan base, and a fan is a fan no matter if
Totally.
it's. I mean, I think in ways, porn is almost bigger. I mean, it's like that little movie star type. stuff.
Oh yeah. Well, it's
Definitely.
because I like you may kid yourself and you might not be open about it, but
Right.
everyone's watched a little bit of
How many
porn.
videos do you think you've done?
Over 250.
So those are still playing all over the planet at all
They're
times.
all the time. Yep.
That's
yep.
great.
I'll still get like random updates and everything like
Wow.
that. People will just like tag something that they loved a video of me and like 3 years ago, and they'll be like, "Oh, I just watched your scene last week. That was great." I'm like, "That's a really old video, but I'm glad you still
Well,
watch
thank
it.
you.
Thank you."
And if you ever go looking for a job, a regular job, and if they recognize you, you can always spring up a conversation because they're not going to not hire you because you're in a porn because they know you.
Depends on the
Right?
position.
Depends on the
Yeah,
position.
but
Depends on the position.
It definitely does help that now I've gone like this transgress into doing like directing and
Right.
behind the camera, the
Yeah.
little transition of that. So that will help me out a little bit. But
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
my passion, and I like where I'm at, and I like being in control of my content, and I love like the thought process of like what you want to make, and then hiring the models, actually shooting it, and then editing it and publishing it for everybody to see. I love the whole process. So
Well,
I think I found my life calling.
So really, you think you'll be in it for a while, or how has it evolved over the years?
How I think I would like to see myself evolve from this. I would still would love to stay in film and be directing and producing.
Yeah.
But at some point, porn is probably going to be in the past for me, and I would like to
Yeah.
move on to like mainstream stuff,
Sure.
which a lot of actually mainstream directors have done. They started
true.
off with porn and transitioned from there. So I would like. I'm young, so I've got plenty
Exactly.
of time.
Got plenty of time and have the fun.
Exactly.
Is there anything that you haven't done yet you want to do that you're like, oh, I want to put together a show and we can do that? Or
It's weird to say how young I am, but I've done so much.
I
So
know,
nothing like
well,
comes off the top of my head. Like
I
I
know.
still need to do this.
well, see, that says a lot though.
It's true.
You know, it's kind of like when it's like you've done all that, so there's not that much left for you to do. Just keep on going.
But life still surprises
Well,
me.
you never know what's going to pop
Oh
up.
yeah, I get surprised every once in a while.
Okay.
Like this last week, we just shot an amazing scene where
Mm-hmm.
I was actually on the submissive end of
Okay.
everything, and I figured that like, oh, we would just like whip me, cane me, paddle me. I've done that a million times.
Mm-hmm.
But no, we went way above and beyond all of that.
Right.
We did crazier things. A
Right.
lot more like mind games.
Right.
So it's like there's always something new for you to try.
And so then after that, you just have to go take a couple days off.
Yeah, I took the next day after work.
Okay.
just to recuperate.
Just to recuperate.
I'm still pretty sore. I got a couple bruises. And
Wow.
everything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You know, it's all for
But
the
it feels
camera.
good.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It says you only have to do that once, and it will be replayed for
Yeah.
forever.
Exactly.
So how can people get in touch with you?
You can
Easiest
get in touch
way.
with me on Twitter. I'm at Mr. Keys XXX on Twitter.
Right.
I'm also all over kink.com,
True.
obviously.
He's all over UnderTheGoldenGate.com as well.
Yes.
Yeah, we got the-
Yeah.
took us on a
Because
tour
your
of the
tour,
Armory.
your tour of the Armory was
Yes.
one of our highest
So
rated
much
videos.
fun. Oh, good.
So you're one of our
glad to hear that.
superstars.
Excellent. Love to
Yes.
hear
Yeah.
that. It was such a
Exactly.
pleasure taking you guys around the building.
Oh my gosh, and we had so much fun going to the thing last week. Of course, that video will be up soon, and then
Yes,
maybe
it
come
should
back
be
next month and
in
do
about a
something
month
else.
or so. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I was really so happy to have you guys on set. It was
Oh, we had so
pleasure.
much
And
fun.
all of my models, even my crew members, loved interviewing with you guys. and
That's
talking
right, and they
to
were
you.
was
so
a great
nice.
day. We all
Everybody was-
hugged.
Yeah, everybody's very proud of what they were doing. I really liked
Yeah,
it.
we take it very passionately.
Very
It's a
passionate,
big
yeah.
family over there.
Yeah.
It was
We all
awesome.
Take care of each other.
Yeah,
And
they
my
said-
impressions, every time I go there, I'm always impressed with how professional it is and nice,
Good.
and everybody's so sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just really an interesting thing. Well, thank you so much for taking time out
Of
and coming and
course.
spending time with us.
Thank
and
you.
I'm sure we're going to see you in a month or so because we're going to come and do what's the one going next month?
We have a live tag team naked combat fight.
Okay.
Where
I'm
we're
so
actually
there.
live streaming, live audience. We have 4
Hear that,
guys.
people?
Oh.
How do you sign up for something like that if you want to be in the audience?
The nice thing is it's completely free. It's BYOB. All you have to do is send an email to audience@kinkmen.com.
Audience@kinkmen.com, people.
Just let me know you want to be on our email list, and we'll send you out an invite every time we have a show.
Wow.
And it'll be fun.
That's
It'll
awesome.
be boring. It'll be
No,
definitely
it's-
something unique.
It's always
Yeah.
fun.
Well, thank you
can't-
so much.
Yep.
I guess we're going to hear a word from our sponsor, whoever that might be, because we're going to go fade to black.
A word
for a
from our
moment.
sponsor,
We'll
yes.
be right back with some music and more fun. Sebastian, you're awesome. Thank you so much for
you.
coming,
You
and
guys
we
are
look forward to
awesome.
seeing you again. And let's hear it for Sebastian.
Thank you.
All right. We will. Okay, we in.
We'll win a war, we'll be underscore. Do you feel me? There's a look in your eyes, something's out tonight. can feel it. And the air is thick with a sense of it, and the dam won't break. One tear falls, tension cracks the walls, the relief comes. Me and you, baby, we made it through. Me and you, we've got some loving to do. Kiss me once and you will watch me fall. Kiss me twice and I will give you my all. We'll push through like two souls should do. Do you feel me? Come up for air, it's dark in there. Do you love me? And the night will come if you do not run. Stand and face the pain. One tear falls, tension cracks the walls, the relief comes. Me and you, baby, we made it through. Me and you, we've got some loving to do. Kiss me once and you will watch me fall. Kiss me twice and I will give you my all. Me and you, baby, we made it through. Me and you, we've got some loving to do. Kiss me once and you will watch me fall. Kiss me twice and I will give you my all.
Thank you.
All right. Woo. All right. I was Rahni NothingMore. Rahni NothingMore.
Thank you.
All right.
Again, I'm DJ Dank. I'm accompanied here by the lovely Maria Konner, and Maria has another guest to introduce us to.
Yes, we do. We have a guest who actually was on the show before as a member of the Conspiracy of Venus Choir.
And I did not know that until you just mentioned it. I was
Yes,
like, of course you were.
We forgot. As a matter of fact, that's how we met you, right?
Yes.
Dirty Voices on the way to our first album.
Yes.
There you
that's
go.
Right. Yes.
Thank you, Indiegogo.
Yep. Great. And then so we have here Paula Joe Husack.
Paula Joe Husack, MFT now.
MFT, marriage and family therapist, and you're currently working with transgender patients.
Indeed,
And,
I am. And I consider that they're clients. They're the patients to their physicians, especially if they're going to go into hormone treatments or they're going to go to a sexual reassignment surgery phase. But for me, they're clients. They choose to be with me, and I am honored to guide them through the 1 year.
The 1 year process.
Well,
so tell us.
Well, no, really, what I think we all really want to know,
yes.
the question everywhere is, how do we solve a problem like Maria? That's all I'm thinking about.
Yes, of course. I'm familiar with the process a little bit, you know?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, so you work with lots of different types of patients.
I do.
And is there anything, I'm wondering, you've got patients who transition from male to female, female to male. Is there any commonality in terms of their motivation or their differences?
The desire that something within said, I have to do this. And it's been saying that for a very long time. Some clients have been diverted. They've been married, they've had kids, they've led the straight life, right? But there's something called, there's an external transphobia. And external transphobia is what's coming from the world at large that says it's not cool to do that there's something wrong with you to do that, even though innately we already know and the sciences know that you go way back when. And in utero, that something about the way one's body is and the way one thinks about it, it just didn't match up. And so dealing with the external transphobia, and what do you think then happens after that is called the internalized transphobia. that we start to believe we're not okay.
Well,
And
I think
then-
people even who are gay feel that way too.
absolutely.
Because you take all those signals.
Homophobia, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Right? Right? The Bias, the Obias.
So people are afraid. Do people find it difficult to come out to you? Did you have to spend time just getting them to trust you?
No.
You're very trustworthy, but
No.
yeah.
So I can say that there's something about the intuitive, I believe, that people who want to transition or they think they need to be their whole person, that same intuition kind of picks up in me that I am all for that. And then also after 20 years in the community, a lot of people know the work I've done in that way. I mean, even though I do counseling coaching, I do life coaching, leadership coaching, for everybody. So the truth is that there's a small percentage of the population that's the trans population. And so it's small, but it's significant.
How many? What numbers are we talking about? Like, so I can understand. How many people would you say in the United States have this?
Well, it's so interesting. So because in the world, it's pretty similar. So you have the Netherlands that's hot on the research trail for decades.
Right.
Okay, so you have 1 in 30,000 people who are male to female, also known as M to F.
Okay, one in 30,000.
Then you have 1 in 100,000 that is F to M. Now, whoa, what a big discrepancy. So does anybody care to guess why? Why so fewer women who are transitioning to men to be true to their gender? Why do you think?
And it's not a reporting issue, those are actual numbers.
Yeah, those are numbers.
Yeah, I wonder if it's because, I always wonder, do people think they want to transition, they realize maybe it's not for them, that there's something about our society that's putting people into buckets
Okay, well,
that's causing this?
you know what, Maria?
Yeah.
The last of what you said is true, the part about putting people in buckets. Okay,
Yeah.
so if we look at how societies cross-culturally, especially the United States and Europe, that you look, because those are the most studied areas, actually. Okay, so if you look at what is expected of a male, now, if a male is the least bit what they call feminine, like showing feminine
Sure.
qualities, the least bit, zzz, it's
You get
fine,
laid.
I know, it's
right?
horrible being a straight male. You're like locked into this. I mean, how many people meet you and then they think they're transgender and then you realize you're actually just a straight man who just likes to express himself. Does that happen?
It
Much?
totally happens.
Oh, there's all kinds because you have your cross.
No, you're just normal.
Trans, okay, so the word trans, it doesn't mean that people are on the way to surgery.
Right.
It means that there's some kind of transition that I'm making. That's the statement. So if it means that I'm making the transition because I'm really comfortable and needing to be in a female form when I'm a male in the Silicon Valley for Monday through Friday.
Right, and you have all that daily grind and this,
Yeah,
that, and the other,
totally.
and you let loose whenever you put on, or as Maria says, go
Totally.
down the bat pole.
Totally,
Go down the back
totally.
hole, yeah.
It's the need. So what defines it is it's the need. So it's like, as an artist, I have the need to make
Express
music.
myself.
I need to. It's not a choice.
Right.
And so that's what happens with the term trans, the need on the Saturday, Sunday for me to say bye to the Silicon Valley and hello, right? Hello, to my pantyhose.
to the fabulous world of shopping and
Absolutely.
and connecting with people and
Absolutely.
expressing your feelings and feeling happy all the time.
Showing your underwear.
Yes.
Showing your
Yes,
But I
yes.
wonder how many of your patients actually they realize it's not for them, and maybe they're really just a male who wants
Well,
to.
male, okay, yeah. So
Or
here we
female,
go.
yeah.
Well, female though. If I can just kind of
wrap
sidebar
up
here and
the-
go back to the female piece,
Right.
right? Because
Yeah.
remember, there's a bigger discrepancy. 1 in 100,000. Okay, so I've described the men's world.
Right.
The women's world. You look at women and how they perceive other women. There's such a range of what's beautiful about being a woman. And that in fact, you can be assertive, aggressive. You can wear a tailored suit
So many clothes,
yeah, right?
It's a lot of fun,
it's
guys.
All okay. It's all okay in the women's world, and that's why a lot of women don't feel that they need or don't become so connected with maybe the strong need to transition. like the men do. The men's world is so rigid. By the way, hormonally, we have some hormones responsible for that. You know, you've heard of hunters-gatherers.
Right.
So the way I see it, because I'm also a photographer, is that the male brain is kind of like, it's like the telephoto lens. I'm going to get that animal, right? I'm running to get the meat to bring it back to the village, maybe. Or maybe I'll just eat it along the way. Zoom. Okay, that's the guy brain with the guy's hormones, testosterone, all that stuff, primary hormones. What about us, women? Okay, we have the wide-angle lens. Oh my God. We have forever changing hormone levels up, down, and around. We have estrogen, we have progesterone, and because we are the ones multitasking. Why? We're built to have babies, and we've got to like guess about everything that might happen, and we got to be ready. And so we've got that wide scope of things going on, and so we can view other women with that wide scope. If you look, at least on the left coast and the right coast, at any group, moms groups, big moms groups, whether it's the San Francisco Bay Area Moms Club, which is a lot of professional women, you can see a range of how they look and how they act. Oh man. So, you know, if I'm comfortable in my skin and I can do what I want, then I may not have that gender thing bubbling up in me so much, right? Like I am if I'm a man and I'm oppressed because I'm in the men's
needing to break out.
And that's the difference why there's three times.
Thanks for asking that
No
question.
problem.
And that's why there's 3 times as many men transitioning as women.
So,
So
say somebody's listening to this right now, and they're like, all of a sudden, all these little bells are going off. Like, oh my gosh, you're talking about me. What should they? What are their steps? What should they do?
Oh my gosh.
What's the best thing they can do?
Well, first thing, and where do you live? See, because,
that's true as well.
Yeah, right? Aren't we happy and thriving here, right? I mean, I'm a native. I think everybody has what we have here.
Right, but it's not the same, not at all.
Right? So you can take some tiny steps and get involved in transgender social groups. There are some in San Francisco.
Look it up on the internet, I'm sure.
That's right, TGSF. You can go to transgender trans bars. You see, because you can hang out there and you're going to be welcome and you can talk with everybody about what's up.
Even if it's in a different city, you'd be even more anonymous. And I know that a lot of people think that if you're transgender, you want to put on clothes and go out and perform and this, that, and the other. But most of my experience has been they just want to be comfortable within themselves, dress their way really comfortably, and go out and go be part of life.
Right. I mean, for instance, one of my clients, so M to F, felt so good just to be united with her body, that she was in her 50s and she had raised children. And she said to me, you know what, when I was doing the dilation process after surgery, and that's where you actually put in this kind of like a spectrum, it's not spectrum.
Any doctors in the crowd?
Speculum.
Yeah.
Speculum.
I mean, there are these little dilators actually. They're small and then you get bigger, and you insert them vaginally because you have to insert some memory for your new vagina to open up, right? So she said, oh my gosh, I started to cry because suddenly I realized it didn't matter if I'm alone and I don't have a partner in my life. It doesn't matter. It matters that I am whole and that I can touch my body and feel everything that I thought I was supposed to have in this life.
Right.
And in that case, she really feels
it's so important in your life quest, whatever quest that is to find your true self and continue on and live it to the best you can. Otherwise, you're never going to feel that satisfaction, and that's a shame.
Yeah, and I wonder if some people really are women who are in men's bodies, and other ones, like there's the other end of the spectrum is the autogynephilic transsexual, who's really just a kinky male, who just is bored with not the dating scene is just so lame.
Who could that be? I don't know if I've met anybody like that, Maria.
I try not to project myself on other people.
And I think they also wear animal prints a lot too.
Of course, absolutely. So if I went into your office, how would I know if this was really for me, if I was just a perverted,
Well, that's why we'll say the state of California says there's got to be a full year process of counseling and of living in gender full time.
Yeah, that's
and then, and then you get to understand what is it for you and what do you
It's
need.
not all playtime dress up. It's getting up,
Yeah.
going to work, making your coffee, cleaning
All
your
of
clothes.
that.
Yeah, no, that's the problem. It's like going down to arguing with a mechanic. It's like there's like going out and having fun. Like somebody asked me if I was full time, and I said no. And then I realized socially, yeah.
Exactly.
But I don't want to go to the store like this.
And what about emotionally?
I don't want to deal with this. You know?
I want to see you doing your housework in it.
Well, you know, and so that's why the work that I do with people, you know, it's a collaboration, and we're deciding what can you do, and then also it's not just doing. How do you feel about it? What's
Exactly.
it bringing up? Whose voices are you hearing in your head from your past that are keeping you from going out in the daytime? You know, it may not be.
And it could
it's
be
not San
something somebody just said
Francisco.
something offhand to you years
Yeah,
ago that
right,
you grab onto.
right,
Because
right.
I've had things where I've told people and they're like, well, I never remember saying that. Like, I can tell you where you were standing, when it came out of your
Yeah,
mouth, and the way it
yeah.
affected you.
Right,
So
right,
that's very true.
right.
Well, you know, we could talk all day about
Yeah, I
this.
know we could.
But you know, we're going to have you back because we find that this whole idealism and process, it's so important to San Francisco, and it's important to everybody.
It is.
Because no matter what your sex or anything it is, it's all about being genuine to yourself, and that's really important.
Yeah, and Paula's going to be doing a call-in show.
Yes.
That's right.
And we're going to be working with her on that and
That's
cross-promoting.
right.
And,
So it's not the
tell
last
us-
we'll see of you.
Absolutely.
Tell us, just give a quickly what that's going to be.
So the excitement, based on what I've discovered here, is that there are many people in the world and in the country that don't have a support system.
Not at all.
You know, we're on the left coast, there's the right coast, but there's the big old spans in the middle, and hell knows what's in the other countries and such, and in India and stuff like that, right? So my vision is that there would be a once-a-month call-in show, open to everybody through subscribership.
That's great.
Right? So that we can keep the people who are transphobia off,
Yeah.
gone, right?
Get through some process.
Right, and
Yeah.
that it be open to the range of ages. I don't know if you're aware of this, everybody, but 26% of our homeless teens are struggling with gender.
With their identity.
I'm
sure on many
it's
levels,
a gender
too.
issue. It's a gender issue, and the majority have been sent to the city, kicked out of their homes
Right.
because they opened up.
And they don't
came
fit
out,
into their
you
parents'
see?
outlook.
But the truth is, if you're building self-esteem, you need just one or two people who really believe in you that can build your self-esteem.
Exactly.
And I've seen it, and so that's what inspires me to do the work I do.
Well, that's great. So,
Yeah.
so after hearing, because we have to wrap it up here, but
Yeah.
how can people get hold of you if they have any more questions?
My website, you guys.
Okay.
Yeah, it's Lead Life Now, LEADLIF as in Frank E, now.com.
Okay.
And you can email me directly at pj@leadlifenow.com, and please do. Please
She wants
do
to hear from you.
Lead
Yeah.
your life now.
Right.
Yes.
Well, PJ, this is
Thank
not the
you.
not the
All
last
right,
we've heard
great.
of you. Thank you so much for taking some time and coming out here and being
Yeah.
part of the Golden Gate.
All right, thank you. Awesome. All right, here we are back under the Golden Gate. We're glad to welcome back Castles in Spain, who's going to do a great song for us. And we're looking forward to hearing it. Castles in Spain.
Magical spectacle place in the world is the commonly goal in our plans. Can I just see all the light in the primitive actions we take in our hands? Will I be over the gazes and mazes and desperately trying to stand on top of the mountain that shines with seduction and mystical energy planned? Oh, are you believing instead of just screaming on top of the world? Are you receiving the gift from the magical dance that unfolds? Certain easy distractions that give you a feeling, an indescribable whole. Take all your will when you do what you can, this life that was given you now. On top of the mountain that shines with seduction, magical dance that unfolds. Are you believing instead of just screaming on top of the world? Are you receiving the gift from the magical dance of the soul? Are you believing instead of just screaming on top of the world? On top of the mountain that shines with seduction and feeds our soul. It feeds our soul. Thank you so
All right,
much.
give it up for Biachi Ishere. And we got Joe. Yeah. Joe, you're the bass player, right? I am. All right, so that was, what do y'all, give it up again. That was great. We love that acoustic music, some real music, you know?
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. You know, so how are things going with you?
They're going. We've been on a short break. Niece, my keyboard player's on tour with Tony Braxton. So, my guitar's done that many times. She drinks
Your
too
baby,
much.
right?
She drinks too much.
Yeah.
And she plays better every time she falls. But yeah, so my keyboard player's on tour with Tony, and that's fine because it was perfect timing. I just lost my mom a couple months ago, and then my stepdad and my dog, and so it was just all this death in a matter of 3 months. So
Been one of those times of life.
yeah, and I went hoarse and I lost my voice. You can still hear I sound like Kim Carnes a little bit still. So you know, I had to rest it for a while, and I wanted to play here earlier, but I unfortunately had to cancel. But you need your voice.
Back now.
I really appreciate
I
your.
think you can always use that. You know, when you go through tough times, you turn to the art, and you're then the thing that to pour it into.
Absolutely,
So,
it's
you right now
therapeutic.
for a super creative period.
Yeah, it's good therapy, and it's given me time to reflect, and I'm working on new material.
Great.
And I'm also, when the band comes back, we're working on an angle of not going electronic, but just trying to do more bass keys, the 12-string vocals, and then bring in drummers for bigger shows.
Right.
And then I'm also teaching myself how to DJ on a Tractor S4.
Awesome.
And I'm
Going electronic, right?
but that'll be another project I'm doing called Biquarius, because I have a lot of planets in Aquarius, and then it's just conversation. Oh, are you Bicurious? No, it's Biquarius.
Anything bi is good for me.
Biquarius, whatever you want. So I'm working on that now, and then I'll do some remixes of Castles in Spain songs, and then some mixes of other people's music too.
Well, I'm a big fan because not only do I just love your voice, but I love the sound that you create, with your band and that.
It's a big sound, yeah.
Big sound, that big guitar, strum sound, and then your voice coming out of it. I think it's just really great.
Oh, thank you.
So I always love hearing you play, and I'm happy you're going to do another number.
Yeah, and I'm happy Maria's going to join us.
Yeah, we're going to join you on another number. Yeah, it's going to be exciting. I always love fellow musicians, because really musicians, especially musicians who are not playing electronic music or playing guitars and things like that, you're really coming from from here.
Yeah, from the gut.
And that's
and it's missing in music today. I mean, I'm all for DJs, and I love electronic dance music. I love all music. Sure. But I was watching this show the other day. I don't know if you've seen it, Linda Perry's new show. Mm-hmm. She's doing a show where she's discovering new acts, and one thing she mentions about artists right now, she says we're missing heart in music, and I couldn't agree with her more. There's just not that all music has to be so emo and depressing.
No.
But
happy feelings,
it's
too.
hard to go to like the bottom of the hill and go, hey man, let's go see this band and let's go cry our eyes out.
Yeah, let's go get kind of depressed.
Yeah,
There's always
and
the blues.
yeah, so you have like concert bands and then you have bar bands and there's a need for all of it.
Yes.
But for us, I've had 5 records I put out of my own pocket. We've been together 20 years.
Yep.
Had members come and go, and I'll never give up the stream. And you got to love what you do,
Yes.
but you got to be true to yourself and authentic. And
Exactly.
instead of changing castles into EDM, I'll branch off with Vicarious, but still stay to the roots of a nice ambient, like a female-fronted "Would You," U2, Jane's Addiction, Dead Can Dance, Pretenders,
awesome.
all having a baby, like that kind of sound. Yeah, and her boys in the band.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, someone's got to provide the sperm. Did I say that?
You did on live television.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. No, it's always great playing with musicians because I always wonder, a lot of young people are really not getting into music because there's so much electronics out there. How do you inspire young people to pick up an instrument instead of picking up a computer?
Yeah.
It's like the
They don't teach the
program.
arts as much as they used to.
Yeah, the programmers are taking over music too.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's crazy. What do you do?
And there's an instrument being neglected that people tend to forget about, and it's called the voice. It is an instrument inside your body, so you're not the one who's allowed to really go party and stay up late. You have to take care of this instrument,
Exactly.
so.
All the while portraying the rock and roll for lifestyle.
Yeah, I guess.
You want to plug in and get ready for the,
All right,
for the
we're
big
gonna
number?
go get ready to do some tunes with
Yeah.
Yeah.
This next song is called Deranged, and I'm dedicating this to my mother. So.
Okay, dedicated to their mother. This is awesome, so take it away.
Will you remain in the corner of my mind? Will it sustain in the presence of my eyes? Seems so arranged, and I hate that most of all. I feel deranged without you by my side. I feel deranged without you by my side. I'm missing you, but I have to go about carrying on the way you taught me how to. Seems so arranged, and I hate that most of all. I feel deranged, and I hate that most of all. I feel deranged without you by my side. Hey, ah, hey, I feel deranged, and I hate that most of all. I feel deranged without you by my side. Hey, ah,
thanks for being with us for this whole amazing show. We've had so much great music. We've learned things about people, and we have one more guest we're super excited about having. We've been doing some stuff with The Guardian the last year or so and having a great time, and we were just so happy to have Mark Bieschke, the executive editor, here to chit-chat and talk about the newspaper biz and how it is in modern day.
Well, first of all, I have to say thank you so much for inviting me here. This is very strange for me to be the one in the interview seat rather than interviewing
Exactly.
you. So forgive me if I slip into starting asking you questions because obviously you're both fascinating people.
We-
who have
well,
a lot,
yes.
a lot to unlock there.
Well, we could talk about me if you want.
But no, don't
I'm sure we will
start
end
going
up
down that
talking.
path.
Yeah.
Trust me.
I
Yeah.
also want to give a shout out to the cutest crew and audience
Well,
here.
you know, we
It's
try.
amazing.
Here
I
at
was
the
like,
old
you
game,
know,
we
usually
like our attractive people.
Yeah, as a writer, I work in isolation, but to work with all these wonderful people around must
I
be
know.
like fantastic.
People
And you know,
Ours,
we
yeah.
showed up here today with an empty space, you know, put it all up, made everything work,
Amazing.
and here we go.
Wow.
And you know, here we are down here with you.
Here we are over the Burger King.
Well, yeah, if you need a
Over
snack.
the Burger King.
Yeah.
Got a good smell.
Well, not really, but it has that fast food smell.
Maybe.
But you know, I'm thinking, you know, nowadays journalism is almost a little fast foody these days.
Journalism can be a fast foodie these days,
yeah.
but I think at The Guardian, at least, we pride ourselves in taking the long view, taking
I agree.
the 12-course kind of
I
buffet.
do. I'll follow your paper and I read all your stuff.
At least
and
the
I-
Denny's buffet.
Yeah, well, I usually agree with you, so I mean, that always makes me happy.
Thanks.
But it always
I love
brings
when
up-
people agree with me.
It's always nicer that way, isn't it? Well, you know, for many years I was very rebellious living in Texas. I had to earn my rights, my gay rights. And I moved here and everybody agreed with me, so I became, you know, not as political in a lot is.
Oh, really?
It was funny that way. It was a weird
that's
change.
interesting. Yeah.
Became
I think-
happier, yeah.
But so anyway, like all these days, what is, I mean, you know, is the print, what is the state of print journalism at this point?
I mean, I think everybody has opinions about print journalism. I think, you know, it can be anything from like, oh, it's something to wrap our fish in or put at the bottom of a bird cage,
Right.
to something that elevates civilization and is something that people look up to. And I mean, definitely people still feel the value of seeing their name in print.
Oh, I do.
Even though, you know, obviously I just love the fact that that whole process has been democratized on blogs and online.
That's true.
But, you know, I think there's nothing better than, I still just love to eat my breakfast, have my bagel with a nice fresh New York Times.
Right,
and just,
or a good
dig
lunch
into
break.
the world, or lunch break.
know, go off and
Stop
be a little-
staring. Stop staring at your screen for a while, which would be nice.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if anyone out there is watching from the New York Times, I will be happy to come work for you.
There you go.
But you gotta stay with the Guardian. I mean, like the role of the local paper is to cover what's happening locally. You don't get that on the internet. You know,
Definitely,
I mean,
definitely.
You know, what is the role of the Guardian? How
Well,
does that change? Yeah.
I think the Guardian's been publishing papers since 1966, so
Right.
we are moving into our 48th year,
Wow.
which is a long time, and we just launched.
You look so young.
Thank you so much. Yeah, you never know.
Well, Dan.
You never know.
Who can tell?
I was in the crib. Working out. But we just launched our 40th annual Best of the Bay competition, which is
Oh,
going to be
wow.
happening, and that comes out in October. So you know, we kind of feel like we're a part of the San Francisco definitely scene, definitely history there. And I think when people see the Guardian out on the streets, they see a little bit of San Francisco history, and I think that
Yeah.
reminds them that even though San Francisco has gone through so many changes, so many ups and downs, so much tumultuous history, there's something there that is keeping the voice of San Francisco alive. Definitely flying the freak flag for San
Definitely.
Francisco.
Well, yeah,
we need that.
We
and-
got to keep San Francisco weird.
Exactly, and trying to embrace as many voices as possible because San Francisco is such a diverse place, and even though we have a hard-hitting progressive message for everyone, part of that progressive message is that we welcome dissent, we welcome
Right.
different points of view, and you know, so often, especially with print media, you just feel like someone's talking down to you, but I feel like we definitely embrace the community voice. So.
And you're focused on arts and culture section, is that right? Where Steve Jones, the editor, is focused on the
A little
City
bit,
Hall?
right? Well,
Yeah.
I mean, like I recently moved into the position of executive editor, which means
Yeah.
I kind of oversee all sides of the paper, which
Yeah.
is really nice. And I also work on our kind of presence, distribution on the streets, our sales force, things like that. So I'm basically overseeing all the paper. But Steve Jones has definitely been a strong voice for us in the news. He's kind of the voice of progressive San Francisco right now. He represents us at City Hall. He definitely keeps the supervisors and everyone to task, as does our wonderful news department. And then we have our lively arts and culture coverage as well. I started as the nightlife writer 10 years ago. I started as a nightlife columnist and
Right.
kind of just got involved from there. And So I definitely have an eye on the new.
So were you always like a little journalist? I mean, were you like writing up little things when you were a kid, or was it an interest you had, or did you fall into it?
No.
Tell us about the starting of Mark Bieschke.
I think I just like talking about myself, so I just kind of want to work that in. No, I was always a reader. I always loved reading. I always loved writing. I was more on the creative side of things than the journalist side of things until maybe college, and then I got into it there a little bit more.
Okay.
Yeah, I studied writing. I got a degree in writing in Detroit's Wayne State University. Moved to San Francisco so that I could be the wonderful freak I am.
How long have you been here?
This is 20 years.
Wow, 20 years. I'm
last
working on
month.
10 myself.
Good for you.
Yeah. Well,
and then I came here and I got a degree in grammar of all things from
Grammar.
San Francisco State.
does that mean you like go around and correct people all the time?
Yes.
Excuse me, you know that's incorrect.
Yeah. So anytime anyone sees any errors in the paper, I'm mortally wounded.
Oh, I know that feeling too completely. Yes.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how many times you can read it and read it and read it, and then all of a sudden you post it. All of a sudden it's some silly one that's like
It
right
still
there, and you're
pops
like,
up,
really?
Yeah, it still pops up.
Yeah.
I was happy when they made it Facebook where you could go and edit your.
Yeah, do your
things
posts.
instead of to go and cancel it
Are
real
all
quick
your
and-
posts edited, Dan?
Sometimes every once in a while. Well, I was a journalism kid too.
Oh, really?
My mother was a journalism teacher, and she taught like prose reading and all that stuff. So I grew up around that.
Oh, okay.
And my grandfather was a journalist as well, and he taught journalism. So I come from a long line of journalists.
Have a very, generation.
So, but when I got to college, I decided to like movies better. So I had that as my minor.
I write print.
Well, I have to have something to write about,
So in the city here, like the biggest issue now is gentrification, of course.
right.
And our perception is that all the clubs are closing, all the live venues are closing with cold music, and it's being replaced by all this like young, clone bars. Is
Crap.
this really what's happening, or what's going on?
Well, I
What's
think
your take?
definitely gentrification is a big thing, and there's obviously San Francisco's changing a lot. I think we can see it in a lot of areas, and I think it's from a diverse number of sources. I mean, obviously there's kind of an infusion of people with money who don't necessarily have an investment in culture, and I think the big debate right now for us is who is able to participate in a community? Is it someone who gives back to the community? Is it someone who's participated in a community for a number of years? Or is it someone who has money to be able to come in and buy themselves into that community? And so I think that's a lot of things that we're seeing right now is kind of someone who has money versus someone who's actually invested time, artistic kind of evolution, dedicating themselves to kind of uplifting the community in terms of politics and arts, culture. So I think that's the main point right now. But it's not just the money that's flowing in. I think we're seeing just a number of things that are happening in San Francisco. I can kind of relate it to your past guests right now. For instance, we just had Sebastian Keys from Kink. Kink's going through a big transformation right now. Obviously, San Francisco has this amazing thing right now where they have a castle to Kink in the middle of them right now.
Right.
However, there's a bill before the state assembly that might require condoms in porn.
And I heard goggles?
I'm sorry, and
Goggles?
perhaps goggles. I don't think goggles are a thing yet. Or
I have a
rubber
goggle
gloves.
fetish every once in a
Or
while, but
rubber
not all the
gloves.
time. Yeah.
But that may don't ask.
One video, maybe.
But that may drive kink out of the city.
Which
you
would be
know?
a
Which would be
crying
big
shame.
loss.
I'd have to move with them, I think.
I mean, I live on Polk Street, and I'm just like looking at it. Like I went there because I love all the weirdos in the trans world, and and all this. And it's and it used to be when I walked from Lower Polk up to the Cinch, people would want to take their pictures with me. And now I'm hearing things like, "Oh, you fucking faggot," and that's a fucking guy, and it's just like, and it's like,
Right in the booth.
the question is this.
No one should have to.
Yeah, and the question is the issue of money coming in and destroying culture inevitable? Is there anything? Is any city in the world stopped it?
I don't know if you can stop gentrification.
Or allowed it to create a more balanced.
That's a wonderful question, and
I
think that's a really big question, and I think it's up to us to kind of just hang in there, and we have
It
to
is about hanging in.
That's
Yeah.
hammering your message up. You just have to be yourself. Go out there and be a freak.
Right.
The wonderful part about the money that's coming in San Francisco is that a lot of it is coming from tech. And tech does have a wonderful history of freaks. I mean, freaks and geeks started tech. Even though I disagree with kind of the libertarian government viewpoint, the libertarian social viewpoint is very ingrained in tech, and they love to accept people who are, different, who have come from a different place, as long as you have something to contribute on that
And I feel like if
level.
you're putting it out there, number one, in times of stress, when things are going on, I mean, it's those times like the Bush years,
Right.
when all the artists come together and have something to fight against, it gives them something to perform and create something
Then we
about.
can come
that
together.
because if everybody gets along,
Right.
sometimes that doesn't create the art.
Sometimes people get lazy on that.
Yeah.
Yes, I mean, there is definitely a case to be made about art can thrive under repression, under oppression. But also, I think just being yourself, and San Francisco is the one place where you can still be yourself,
Right.
and if people are going to call you the names, they're going to call you whatever their ignorant asses are going to call you, you can hold your head up high and you can go, you know what, I have the support of a community here. I have the
you
support
can.
of
But
wonderful people here.
Yeah. I mean, but I wonder, these tech people that we're talking about, can you tell, are they engaging with the Guardian? Are they reading it? Are they, are they engaging the community? Or are they sitting there writing code while surfing porn?
No. I think, I can't really generalize about tech people in general. I'm part of the tech community. We have a website.
Well, so are we, technically.
Yeah.
That's how we make our money. Bruce Wayne by day, Batgirl by night.
Miss Maria. And I think kind of the argument about like tech people versus this, tech people versus that is a bit of a red herring because there's so many outliers.
It creates a story.
It creates a
your
story that
character
people are very excited about on a national level, very excited about on a global level. But I mean, there's so many other players in the drama that's happening in San Francisco right now. There's landlords, there's lawyers.
Who are all playing off that.
You know what? There's still a bunch of wonderful people who are moving here with nothing to their name, but they just buy into the wonderful dream that is San Francisco. They want to be themselves.
They just got to raise that $2,000 a month rent.
It's scary, and I mean, it kills me that about a third of our homeless are gender questioning, are also identify as LGBT. They've come here to like believe in the dream that is
San Francisco,
Oz.
the home of the freaks, and acceptance of everybody.
Exactly, but every time that I'm on Facebook or on Twitter and I hear these like wonderful tales of like someone found a couch that they can surf on so they can do their drag show, or a musician is like found a floor to sleep on so they can do this, and they've eventually worked up to an apartment. I mean, those things are still happening, and it's important for us not to be clouded by this narrative that everyone wants you to be excited about tech people versus art.
Well, because it's easy to create that battle, and people can like, winners, losers.
Yeah, exactly.
Because when you start adding like sports things to the reality of it, because life's not a sports event.
Well, yeah, sure. Right.
It just makes it more fun because people can grab onto it.
Oh, for sure.
And I think there are lots of people that are. I mean, even people coming into tech, there's a place for everybody. And I think once everything goes in and we find the people, and if you are interested in tech and you want to invest in another Golden Gate, we'd love to have you come into tech.
We're gonna come on, save the world.
We need editors, we need clients, we need all kinds of stuff, and we treat you so well.
I want to do
Maria
this all
would be
the
your
time.
slave, so I'm just saying. But I think there are those people that are there, and sure, there's always going to be assholes. I mean, when somebody talked to me about San Francisco when I first moved here, they go, "Well, yeah, there are assholes here, but there are more freaks than there are in a normal area."
Yeah, well, here's
what.
here's the problem. I love the transsexual bar divas, right? And 8 years ago when I moved here, you would meet so many people there. It was amazing. People, filmmakers from Norway, just all these people curious. And now the place is dead.
Well, I met a very nice tumbleweed when I was there last time.
So it's like, you're looking at it going, the internet seems to be good for people who live outside the city, but bad for people who live in the city.
That's true. But I mean, I think there may be a narrative there. There might be a narrative there. Gay clubs were considered all but dead, probably 2006, 2007. The internet killed gay clubs. Gay clubs were closing everywhere. Leather bars were closing. Then suddenly the young people discovered they wanted this retro feeling of actually going out and meeting people. They fetishized it. Yeah, people like Bus Station John, Honey Sound System. They created entire networks of clubs kind of digging into this retro feeling of going out and cruising. And perhaps maybe the trans community can kind of find a way to do that. It's like we're going to go out and meet a good old-fashioned person in the flesh who embodies your fantasy.
And we can make it happen.
Okay, exactly.
I'll do a trans meetup. Anybody want to?
.com.
So it sounds like really, perfect. Transmeetup.com. Get the URL. But it sounds like that's interesting. So things go through cycles, and it sounds like like give me one thing that you are really excited and positive about the future, and one thing you're really worried about.
Here in San Francisco.
Here in San Francisco.
Here in San Francisco, right now, I really feel like the balance has fallen into people suddenly realizing the culture of San Francisco is at stake and wanting to bring it. They want to bring what they have to. People who have formerly been observers, who've been sitting on the sidelines and saying like, oh, isn't this sad that this neighborhood liquor store closed? Right. Oh, isn't it sad we heard about this family being evicted that we didn't know 3 doors down the street? Oh my gosh, this gay space, this queer space is in trouble. They're suddenly being activated, and they're finding a voice, and they're realizing that the power of San Francisco is behind them, that they can engage in a cultural dialogue about these things. They don't just have to sit back and be passive. And I find that, in the beginning it was like, oh my gosh, all these weirdos, or not all these weirdos, like 5 weirdos are protesting Google buses. What the hell are they doing?
Right.
Yeah.
Like that was the narrative 2 years ago. Now it's like, oh my gosh, this is a San Francisco thing. This
Do you
is
think there will be
responsibility.
something going on in the next election that's going to reflect the way that people feel about San Francisco presently? Is there going to be like a big
certainly
backlash?
Hope so. I don't think it's reached unfortunately, I don't think it's reached the political level yet. I find a lot of the supervisors who are up for re-election are running pretty much unopposed, which is always a sad thing for democracy and for San Francisco. So anybody out there, please run against the supervisors.
And also, if you're mad about something,
okay, Ms. Flynn, you do it. Okay, let's do it.
Because we had like a street bar takeover a year and a half ago or something out, and and people would like talk a good talk, but when they came out to show up and like protest and do it, some people showed up, but it wasn't near what I thought. I was like, well, you obviously aren't that mad.
Right, but you know what? The some people that showed up, that's a valuable change. You know, people could just sit home and they could click on their.
If you say only so and so people showed up, I'm going, well, those probably are the right people that have shown up. So.
Exactly.
Yeah. A lot of people on Facebook, they say, I'm going to leave the city. It's been done, and then you're like, okay, where are you going to go? Like to Idaho?
That's
really like that's the way to get them to be quiet. Like, really. I mean, and the truth is, like you said, where else are you going to go? At least if you're here, we have a high concentration of people. If you want it hard enough, they will rally around you, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
And that's a beautiful. I mean, really, where else would you want to be? The biggest small city, the smallest big city in the world.
Big city in the world. Amen.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, right.
It is also the best little whorehouse in Texas. Especially on a Friday night about 9 o'clock. So.
That's right. And also they got great bars here. That's what we're going to end up doing. Yeah. And you, of course, live in the life. You're doing Super Ego. You're right. You're still involved in reporting.
I still do nightlife. I still cover nightlife. I cover arts. I cover City Hall. So I'm still like on the ground. Nightlife has always been my main love. So I cover that very much.
And that's why I started doing shows.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah. And you're living it. You're writing about your life.
I go out way too much for someone my age.
No, you don't. No.
It's like
ain't no such thing.
No way. I'm living my life in reverse. I studied and did all the good things when I was younger. I'm going out like a child. I'm making up for lost
We were going to be a fascinating group of senior citizens all like
that. Well,
Can you imagine all of us as senior citizens? That's going to be crazy.
You're going to be rolling out. You're going to be rolling under the golden gate.
Leave me alone. I'm a punk.
Exactly. That's why I'm going to spend my last 20 or 30 years as a woman because I just get a lot more action.
There you go.
Yeah. I don't want to be a man. Fuck that. Forget that. Boring. Oh yeah.
A little tea from Maria.
Yeah.
So, how can people get a hold of you? What's the easiest way to reach you if they have an opinion or?
Yeah, The Bay Guardian, sfbg.com is our website. Mark, M-A-R-K-E at sfbg.com. Please email me anytime. I'm interested in what everybody's doing.
I know, so are we. Yeah, and we're so glad you took some time out to let us know
Thank you
going
so
on
much.
in your head and all that stuff.
This is such a good experience to be in a hot seat for once.
And one last thing, look in the camera, through the time portal. You're talking to your younger self. Give yourself advice.
Don't take the...
Don't wear purple. No purple. No purple. It's not good on you.
Bad experience.
You're a winter.
All right.
Let's hear for Mark Bieschke, everybody.
All right.
Ready? Got it? All right. 1, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Down south in Birmingham, I mean south in Alabama's an old place where people go to in their best they'll greet you. Bow-doo-wah-ba-doo-bah, 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 do-wah-doo-wah-doo-wah, a-boo-ba-doo-bip-bip-doo-yah-ba-doo-ba-doo-boo, a-scree-ba-dee-ba-dee-ba-dee-ba-dee-dee-yah-ba-bow, ba-doo-doo, doo-doo-yah-ba-doo-doo-doo, ba-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo, ba-doo-doo, boo-ba, 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 way down south in Birmingham, I mean south in Alabama's an old place where people go to dance the night away. They all drive or walk for miles to get blues of that southern style. It's so blue, it'll make you want to dance the night away, to dance the night away, to dance the night away.
Thank you, Michael. Way to go. Okay, I'm DJ Dank. That's Maria Konner. Thanks everybody for coming out tonight. Thanks to all of our guests. Check everything out on underthegoldengate.com. Like us on Facebook and Twitter at UTGGSF. We'll see you next month. We're going to be here on Friday, September 12th. So mark your calendars. So that's it for now, and have a great time under the Golden Gate.